As the cold rain blatters and the sun fails to rise in rural France, Spinoza wants to remind you of how his ideas work. I have avoided a little bit talking of Spinoza. There are two reasons. First of all, he works in 17th century terminology. I would have to therefore explain to you what objective meant and formal meant, and all sorts of terms which are post-Descartian that he uses, that died with Hume and Berkeley. And the other reason is that I can go distinctly pie-eyed about Spinoza, and 5 hours can go and I won't have even begun properly. But I think I've pulled off some ideas that clearly matter for our time. But we will need to start off with one or two little technical definitions. First of all, for Spinoza, the essence of the mind lies in the idea of a body as it actually exists. So the idea of the body, the perception of the body, and the existence of the body are given in the same moment. He makes the same move for God earlier on in Ethics. Okay? It is in that actual existence. A mind and the consciousness of the body, the idea of the body, is the perception of the mind as it actually exists. Reason then floats, if you like, above the mind. But a Spinozian mind is a complicated affair, because a mind is as good as its ability to reach out to other things. As human bodies are capable of conjoining, finding different ways to reach into creation, to form unities with it, affinities, different ways to be in creation, human's mind is excellent. The Spinozian mind, then, is not independent either from the actions a body can do or from its ideas. Actually, in many ways, the Spinozian mind is the assembly of the ideas within it. As they are excellent, it is excellent. As the ideas themselves catch you in the grip of somebody else, of another's affect, the human mind withers. Before I move on to define adequate and inadequate ideas, let me just point out something here. Part of the pain of Spinoza's great book Ethics is the recount of how little reason can help you. Reason, that is the idea of the idea of the idea, so that is the consciousness thinking about its own nature, can, on the abstract, as we all have abstract human nature ahead of us, the idea of what we would do in a perfect world, easily define a world of thou shalt and thou shalt not, and create itself a perfect little moral universe where things are bad. And yet, that won't save you at all. Because what actually makes your ideas as you live them is not abstract reality, but the way you are engaged within the world, the way you enter into combinations in that world and become who you are through it. He repeats twice then, Ovid and the lines of Medea. I see and approve the best, but do the worst. How does this happen? Well, Spinoza spends most of Ethics understanding it. Key is the idea of inadequate and inadequate ideas. An adequate idea is an idea that has its own cause within it. If you have an adequate idea, you also know why you have that adequate idea. More than that, it enters you clearly into an exchange. Great ideas are not something over and done with. They are rather that which allows you to open out upon a different world, a world that changes who and what you are. A great scientific hypothesis is then something that opens a new field in science. It doesn't solve anything. Rather, it re-problematizes a world you might have thought you had solved. And that is its genius. Likewise, great political movements don't solve things, but they rather allow you to articulate yourself against other humans differently, understand them afresh, give you a chance to rethrow who and what you are. Great ideas, then, are like common notions, movements that gather humans together, that being changed and changed, they understand what they are. So that within Spinoza, to comprehend and to transform are the same thing. Adequate ideas, then, are endlessly powerful. But what about their corollary, inadequate ideas? Now, an inadequate idea, logically enough, is an idea that doesn't have its cause with it. Fine. Most ideas we have of the world are, of course, inadequate because they're perceptions. If I look out upon a rainy day in France, I do not know what I see in itself, only as the perception affects my body. I have, just as I see it, an inadequate idea then of trees or dogs or anything. More than that, inadequate ideas are ideas you do not have the cause to, at least initially. That might be okay, and you might be able to learn about their cause, or you might be able to develop common notions like light that allows you to navigate the world between them and you. But most great inadequate ideas aren't like that. Most great inadequate ideas are the ones we're gathered to politically and socially. The ones, then, in whose nature we are gripped. Such ideas, often rooted, Spinoza will say, almost invariably rooted, either in pain or in a pleasure that benefits only one or two parts of the body and not the whole, and so suppresses the soul. Such inadequate ideas do not reflect our nature. They might reflect the nature of some rich man. Spinoza is very open to that idea. In his world, it was Calvinist priests who are lining their own bellies by making you believe this doctrine that somehow supports their wealth, but never yours. Does that sound familiar? But he's also very clear that most inadequate ideas have no one cause. There are a million different reasons why people are feeling less powerful than they used to, from fear about global warming, ironically, to the increase in the price of oil, to a feeling that somehow the world is leaving them as intelligence becomes increasingly artificialized. All of these, then, lead to a feeling, a diminishing of power. Spinoza calls that always pain. And his point is, it's actually very, very hard to understand pain. It has multiple causes. In me, its effect is simple. I know I hurt. And yet the very knowledge of it suppresses my nature. It makes me less than I was, less able to enter into combinations with the universe. That is its very point. And do you not see what follows? Those in pain must be stupid. They cannot be anything else. Pain does not give, in the Spinoza world, revelation. It rather suppresses who and what you could ever be. More than that, as your mind tries to understand it, it will invent causes, reasons. It will look for someone to blame. It will create then crass little ideas that can be stirred up by demagogues. It is not the protesters are stupid, but rather the grip of pain, in which, partly self-inflicted, for the point about pain is that it's very easy to blame something that actually makes the pain worse when you act upon it. People in pain, Spinoza is very clear, love the poison they take to cure them, even though it kills them. In such a world, then, you are going to get people who look, if you are not gripped by the pain, if you do not feel your power has lessened, or you have a different strategy, like idiots. And yet calling them idiots, understanding as a failure of understanding, is to have already internalized their pain as your pain. It is rather always a question of finding ideas, those points of accord, where you can talk to what they have become, find out where it began in their mind, and see if you can pull it elsewhere. Think it otherwise. Do not lecture, do not hector, would be Spinoza's answer, unless you have to save your own soul. Rather discuss, comprehend, and no transition. Thank you.